Hi, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marisa B. And today I have with me feminine mystic and spiritual teacher, visionary, creator, creative director for the newly birthed and evolutionary Tapestry Feminine Collective. For over 15 years, Jacqueline Robinson has taught, written, and worked with private clients to embody their unique and original selves. Hello, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for coming today.
Hello, Marissa. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here and have the conversation with you.
I'm so thrilled that you could come today and speak to the audience. Can you explain a little bit about how you actually started in the healing arts? Because I know it's been a journey for you.
It has been a journey. So my initiation was back in 2005. Really out of the blue, I became aware of Carolyn Mace, and she was launching. It was her first year offering her mysticism course. And at the time, it was going to be from intuition to mysticism. There were 3 intensives that year. And during the very first intensive is when St. Teresa of Avila approached Carolyn while she was teaching on stage, and everything stopped. She threw out all of her prepared information, and the entire course of that teaching shifted to Teresa's work and deepening into Teresa's book is The Interior Castle. Carolyn rewrote that as Entering the Castle following that year in 2005. I met Carolyn through that experience. I deepened into what mysticism is. And Andrew Harvey, who is a scholar, a spiritual teacher, and a fiery, passionate mystic, was one of the teachers there as well. And it broke me open in ways that I grew up in religion, so I was aware of spirituality, but this was very different. This was very deep and incredibly heart-centered and moving from your passion and an intimate relationship with divinity. From there, I went and studied in Chartres, France at the Chartres Mystery School. I studied a bit of mediumship, and it all just evolved over time and moved more and more towards working with the feminine, working with women, and has branched out from there.
Yes, now you've worked for over 15 years, of course, with private clients, and I know that you tailor the work that you do with the clients that you have and that you have had before. But now you have entered into something relatively new that you've birthed into existence, which is Tapestry Feminine Collective. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that? Because this is a large project, right? A large undertaking now.
Yes, it is a large project. And in fact, Marissa, it's a project that still it is revealing itself. Tapestry has its own spirit and its own voice. Probably around mid-May of this year, I just got a very clear download, and it began to weave in many pieces that if I went through all of my notebooks I've been writing for years, suddenly they came together. Tapestry Feminine Collective is a grassroots, very organic calling together of women. And it's very much centered around our artistry. And let me speak about what our artistry is, because many think it's we paint, we do pottery, we crochet, and that's not precisely what I am bringing into the world through tapestry. Artistry is a woman's signature. It's her energy, it's her sexuality, it's the way she loves, it's her divinity, it's how she engages with her family, her partner. And ultimately, tapestry is intentionally a channel and a vehicle of service in the world. And so a woman who can embody her artistry, who is finding pleasure and fulfillment in being herself and living the life she is creating, consciously co-creating, is a massive impact of change in the world. And another piece of tapestry is that we are looking forward into these Aquarian energies that are coming in. And speaking of signature, the Aquarian signature is very much grounded in community. It's grounded and anchored in very deeply connecting to the roots of our own unique magic and how we bring that in the world. And I don't mean magic like abracadabra. I mean magic like the essence of who a woman is, and how that just naturally begins to emanate and create and connect. We're connectors. We are the feminine carries the energy of communing and communion, which is certainly connection. But when you think about it, when you run it through your system as a communion with divinity, with other women, with our lives, it becomes much more alive in the body. Every woman I have encountered across the board, private clients, groups, women I've collaborated with, certainly myself, I don't want to die with all of that still unspoken, unexpressed, unlived. And so Tapestry invites women in to open those channels through the fear, through the programming, through just being at her next creative edge, and to really allow herself to birth that, surrounded by and celebrated in community with other women.
Now, currently, you have begun this and it's online for the most part, correct?
Correct. Yes, it's online. When I first saw it, and I have pages of when it just dropped in, it was intentionally online. It will also intentionally become more in person as time goes on. We had a weekend retreat type of experience, which blew my mind, Marissa, that there were 18 women who joined me in sharing their artistry. And we did it over the weekend of 11/11.
Yes.
I feel in 2024, we'll do it virtually over the weekend of 11/11 again. In the meantime, we are gathering information, and we'll soon have a resource page on the website that women can go to and see where in-person physical experiences, retreats, connections, groups, whatever it may be, are happening. So they can have it so we can have it in our everyday life. And, you know, I love sitting in front of you, and we both know that if we were in the same room,
yes, of course,
the intensity of the energy turns up.
Yes. And of course that happens. And I know, sadly, speaking with everyone, we talk about the pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and it's a very real issue that we're all dealing with. And so we have come now to the post-pandemic, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to have more in contact one-on-one with individuals or in a group, whether it's a large group or a small group, but it is slow to come. And so that idea of going online to open that up, because you really can connect with people all over the world from online. So we do have that blessing from working online. But of course, as you said, the energy when you're in a room filled with other women that are all expressing themselves and have the right to express themselves and have that open space to express themselves, that of course is incredible. And so I'm happy to hear that that's what's going to be happening. And now you're on the East Coast as well as I am. We're both on the East Coast, but you're, I believe, in Florida, correct?
I am in Florida. Yes, we are New England natives, and we still return to New England at present in the summertime, but we've settled in Florida intentionally for the warmth and sunshine and the DNA and all the good things that offers to us.
And so do you think that these, well, I know you mentioned that you're going to put connections for women to actually look into resources where they can meet really all over the world. But do you think that your tapestry will be solely in Florida, or do you think that you would move around like other groups do?
I feel it will not be solely in Florida. And although I am the visionary, I am the creative director, the way that I see it is Tapestry is not just me. Tapestry is a mission that is moving out into the world, and I am calling in other women. And so wherever Tapestry may have events happening, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm leading or hosting them. Certainly some will be in Florida. However, especially because we're embracing the artistry, and especially because we're not going big name, big channels through which to create Tapestry. We kept it intentionally very personal. What I see and sense is that as we move into the world, although there may be large gatherings down the road of many women in a room, there also will intentionally be many smaller, intimate, personal, within a sweet little village, quiet community or gorgeous retreat area that feels so inviting and calming and opening and inspiring, and just offers not only respite. We're not just opening to this rest and respite and retreat. The intention of our retreat, virtual retreat that we just held, for many who look at that, it would appear to be a conference. It would appear to be workshops. However, those have felt very impersonal. And this work that we are doing is very intimately connected and intentionally personal, even as you said, if it's online. I agree completely that it probably was somewhere around 2012 or 13, shortly after Facebook was starting to gain traction. And I and 3 other women dropped into a private group, which back then not many people did. But we spent time together and we understood how personal and alive the connection can be, even when you're not in the same room. So our online experience offers that. We want to bring the same thing to the in-person experience.
Yes. I mean, of course, it's wonderful when you're in person, but you don't want to negate the fact that it can be very powerful online, because you reach so many people that otherwise would never be reached. You know, they're in areas that are remote, areas where they really can't travel, or circumstances that they have that they cannot travel. So we are reaching people in that way, all the more across the globe. So there is that connection, that camaraderie. And of course, for anybody who can then later join, as I said earlier, that's powerful and very intense. But sometimes then walking away from that, do you find that we still have that distance from one another because of our geographic location? Once we walk away from, say, for example, the event that you had on 11/11, I mean, you had a lot of powerful speakers in that event, and then everyone goes back to their world, more or less. Do you have a way that you continue to connect with them? Can they, like a private Facebook group? I mean, do you have something on Tapestry where they join and they connect regularly?
So we do have a private Facebook group. It is complimentary. There's no cost or monthly fee. And we are now in 2024, we are really looking at how to engage women within that space and offer resource. We are taking all of the 11/11 presentations from these 18 women and creating a library on our website as well. So that really part of the Tapestry mission is to provide resource, to provide a way to stay connected. Saying that, what I did find, to answer your question directly about does the connection stay and what do we find when the experience is complete
Mhm.
and everyone has parted. It's not there that I see a bit of a, I don't want to call it a gap, but a bit of a small piece that we are still longing for that was not available during the 11/11 online experience. And it was this. One of the presenters, and she's a woman I've worked closely with for years, Arlia Hoffman. She and I, when I lived in Atlanta, we held monthly women's temple practice. And part of women's temple practice is not only that you're in spiritual practice, you're also moving your body, you're deepening in those ways. And at the end of temple practice, we had what was called floor time, which seems very basic. However, every woman who came to temple, it was her favorite thing, because we would take pillows or blankets and make a beautiful, comfortable space on the floor. One woman would lie down on her back, on her belly, for women who chose this. And 2 or 3 other women around her would either be giving her Reiki. Some women gave great hair time. Some women were massage therapists. So if this woman had a particular place, and others would just lay hands on her and bless her. That particular piece, you cannot translate virtually. Right. And so that is part of, too, what compels me and the women that I'm collaborating with to also grow and evolve into having the in-person experience as well. Aside from that, we absolutely can remain connected, however we choose. And I'll tell you what I noticed in the experience of Tapestry and what I see, and for your listeners, I would offer. Use your voice. Even if you're just saying, I enjoyed that, thank you. What I see is that the spiritual community, there certainly is a lot of giving and there's a lot of receiving. But as I watched this experience unfold, the givers are the ones who are giving. There are others who receive, and you never know they're there. And that's very okay. However, for a woman to come into her true signature and artistry, and to have that community and connection she desires, is going to require some level of her own self-expression. And that was probably my biggest takeaway, that in the current spiritual energetic climate, it's challenging to, I want to say encourage, and then my next thoughts were to draw out, but it feels like it shouldn't be efforted on the part of the ones who are extending the invitation. And what I feel is there's been a space between the giving and the true voicing of, thank you. This is how it impacted me. This is what moved me. And it can be very simple. And so I'm encouraging women, 2 pieces, and they were part of the Tapestry wrap up at the end of our weekend: choice and voice. I feel we have come so far, and we still are moving closer and closer toward really allowing ourselves to choose and to witness where that will is aligned. Is it aligned to, that doesn't feel comfortable, or I'm not sure I belong, I don't know what to say? Or is it aligned to, I am this woman and I have this to speak, and this is my divinity and myself? And that automatically opens the channels and the voice for her to express. I love women, and I want more that. I want to
Mhm.
hear them. I want to feel them. I want to see them.
Well, I'm with you. And I know that as a therapist, a lot of clients, female clients, they almost feel fearful to express themselves, or that they don't have a right to express themselves, that
Yes.
they have to get back in line and
Yes.
live the way they had been living before, and giving to the family and giving to the relatives and giving to the job and or the career, and so that they don't have time for themselves, or that it's very selfish for them, for themselves, looking out and saying, I want more. And that, I seem to see, is still a problem. And so with that, leaving an event, whether it's online or in person, and you take with you all that wonderful feeling, but then almost a guilty, primarily in
Mm,
women, a guilty feeling when they go back to their lives, that they even ever have a right to think about how wonderful it was, or what they got from that, or how they were able to speak up. They almost close off again. I find that that is happening to a lot of women still, and it's unfortunate, because you have every right to take with you everything that you've gained from an event like that, and then bring it into your world. So I'm sure you find that also, that there are women that this happens to, and so they're almost fearful then to continue on. I mean, and of course, as you said, there are others that say, well, maybe this is not for me, or maybe I don't know what to say. But I think a lot of it is fear.
I agree. I agree. I see the fear. And I see the fear, as you say, in the good girl, being a good woman, being a good mother, being a good wife, being a good spiritual being. I see that. And in my own experience, as well as, of course, what we experience comes
Mhm.
into our body of work. In my own experience, I bumped up against my own taboo again and again and again and again, until I made very conscious choices that were not good girl choices. They were not. They did not look good in the eyes of the world. They did not look good in the eyes of spirituality. They did not look good through marriage or my children's
Mhm.
eyes. However, and the woman I am today, some of them I wouldn't choose. Yet I have no regrets, because I needed to follow that path to get to me. And when something has been so taboo and so don't touch that, mostly because we're fearful we can't trust ourselves, then we almost go the other direction. And so with reference to the being good and the fear,
Mhm.
I do see there's a fear of how others will perceive us. There's a fear of the repercussion. And at a deeper level, it's a fear of our own power, truly. And that's part of the taboo. Not just you don't have the power to vote, you don't have the power to this, but even in the current polarity
Mhm.
conversation, the masculine has power, the feminine has magnetism. Well, that's true. And there is a feminine power that belongs to us. We conceive children, we carry them to life,
Yes.
we birth them, and that belongs to us. So, yes, there is absolutely a fear. And when I look at it in a woman's energy field, it's multi layered.
Mhm.
I do see it beginning to soften in
Mhm.
terms of dissolving. And I want more of that.
I have to agree. I mean, it is dissolving a bit, but there are some that will, I think, carry with them the guilt for some reason. Well, as you said, there are multi layers to that, why they feel guilty. But
Yes,
it's a shame that that's still going on. And
it
oftentimes
is.
it's oftentimes it's also external pressure, I think. You know,
Yeah.
many women, and at least clients that I have, they have experienced this opening up, whether it was through a weekend retreat or workshop or some sort of group work, and then it's almost imposed upon them from external sources that now you have to snap back into place, because now that's
Yes.
over, and now you have to continue on with what you were doing before. And I think that that's something that's why, that was really, because it's funny that you say that you started Tapestry in May, because I actually started the channel in May, because I thought that there was so
Wow.
much, well, there was so much hatred and prejudice and harm and hurt on the planet. And I thought that we really need to have these conversations about how we can all be in our own power. Power doesn't mean that you force that power on someone else. Power means that you have a right to stand in who and what you believe personally. No one else has a right to tell you how to live, but in the same token, you don't have a right to tell someone else how to live. We all have to, do us the best we can. And I thought that there was so much going on where there was just so much hatred and so much anger and hostility on the planet, that I thought that having conversations with people like you, with women, men that are doing this work on the planet, all these healing arts, all these opening up of enlightenment and evolutionary thinking. I thought it was wonderful to have conversations like this. How do you see yourself going now with Tapestry? You said, I know you mentioned earlier you want to do another 11/11 next year, but do you have other things in mind that you're going to offer to people?
We do. And it still is in a bit of conception, really understanding after our 11/11 event. I myself put it down for a while, and just it had been such a beautiful and full-bodied, full life labor of love that I put it down for a while. And what we are beginning to weave is to have not just my voice within that group, but to have other voices, to have some specific topics of conversation and invitations, to have some pop-up events throughout the season of 2024. And I very much want that tapestry space. I see it this way, Marisa, that my body of work is truly a temple. And I've done work in the priestess area, in the goddess area. I don't love all of those words so much anymore. They've been overused. But a woman absolutely has cycles and seasons in her life, and she goes through initiations as she moves through each one. And so within this temple framework, I've always seen it as, women were very magical. So they say the number 3, things always happen in threes. It's something the witches are known for speaking. And I see it as a 3. There's the Tapestry Facebook group, which is very much when you enter a sacred building and there's a lot going on in that long sort of fellowship hall. Somebody said Tapestry felt like when they were a child and they were at the bazaar and they were so excited and everything. There was live energy and a lot going on. And we have a boutique on the website. So there are goods and services. And there's also just if you want to sit and have a cup of coffee and drink it in. That's the Tapestry Facebook group. There's a next level, which is you move from there. If you're in the temple, you move into the sanctuary, the more meeting space where there are teachings and there's service, there's ceremony. We will be offering those sorts of experiences as well. And then where my personal, the intimate feminine is sort of the container for my personal body of work, that will be the Holy of Holies, where it comes down to what I'm personally teaching, whether it's with a group or one-on-one, however that may be. And so the invitation to women through Tapestry is you can settle in at any point within that temple space that feels right and true to you. There's no expectation, there's no obligation. And the invitation is come and let yourself be seen and heard, because even beneath the fear you and I just talked about, even still in our deepest longing, we want to engage. We want to be seen. We want to be known, and we want to see, and we want to know others on an intimate level. We're designed for that. We're as women, we're made to drop in together. And for some, dropping in is laughing. For some, dropping in is prayer. For others, dropping in is talking about what's going on in their world. So you don't have to fit a mold.
Right.
But come as you. Bring your beautiful self. Not perfect. You can come with all the mess, and you can come with all the gorgeousness. All of you is welcome here.
And now, how can somebody find the Facebook group? What's the name of the Facebook group? Because you said it's open to everyone, or is it a private group? It is open to the public.
It's open to everybody. We have 3 membership questions, which are super simple. Email, how'd you hear about us? And where are you in the world? And that really is to get a pulse on where these points of light, where we're weaving across the planet. Answer those questions, you're in. You don't have to do anything else. It's very simple. Tapestry Feminine Collective. To make it very easy, on my Facebook profile, Jacqueline L. Robinson, there's a link.
You're also on there. Okay.
Go click the link. Easy.
Well, I will definitely put this in the description for you. I'll put everything in the description for the audience that they could just click on it if they like, even your website. Because your website has all this information as well, because I believe you actually, yes, because you actually write, you have a blog also on your website.
We do.
And you had a podcast. You did have a podcast at one time as well.
We did. And we will continue that in 2024. Plans are on the back burner to bring that back. A lot of our focus in relation to whatever we create for 11/11 is brewing in the background. In the forefront is the invitation to women, come and experience. And I would extend that invitation to, if there's something you desire in community with women, come and share it with us.
Yes.
We want to hear your voice. We want to know what women, today's woman who's raising her family, who's an empty nester, who's reinventing herself, who's walking the edge, whose marriage may be ending, who desires a new relationship, who has no idea how to connect to her sexuality or what her artistry is, how to create, whatever it may be. This is a place to come and lay it down and be fed.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's wonderful that you've created this, because it is an open forum for people, for women coming from any background, really, any background, all walks of life, anything that's happening to them at this point in their life or what they're looking to change. It's a wonderful forum. And
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just splendid that there's something out there for women, where it's almost a hub.
Yes.
For all of us.
Yes. That's precisely what we wanted, was a hub meeting place. And, I certainly encourage the engagement. And I will also say, you're welcome to come however you do. Just arrive. A woman who has arrived is a woman who comes more and more alive. So just arrive.
That's true. That's the first step, right? That's the first step to arrive.
Yes.
And you can go from there.
Yes. May I ask you a question,
Sure.
Marisa, from your perspective? You're speaking with many, as you said, women and men. As you're speaking with women, I would be very curious. how you're seeing the evolution of spirituality, excuse me, of energy, of us really coming out of a heavy spirituality and moving into this more Aquarian signature, which is very much about, I say, artistry, and I'll define it: the healing arts, the creative arts,
Mm-hmm.
the media arts. I'm curious from your perspective how you're witnessing some of these movements in the world.
Well, I have to tell you the truth that um, having been in contact with people of a like mind for many, many years, since I was relatively young, I often am still taken aback by the fear that a lot
Mm,
of people have.
mm,
We're
yeah,
talking about things, we're attempting to experience things, we're trying to evolve, to thrive in humanity, but there are still some resistances that people have or are placed upon them, that's surprising at times,
mm,
because
mm,
when you're always surrounded with like-minded people, um, you naturally, you know what's going on the planet. You can hear oftentimes what's going on the planet. You may not want to watch the news or read the newspaper every day, but those bits and bobs come through. Let's face it,
yeah,
we find out one way or another some things that are occurring. So we know the temperament of others. And so I know that that exists. But when I speak with people and they're actually in the healing arts or the expressive arts or the creative arts, the media arts, I'm sometimes shocked that they're still finding issues to their to having to walking down a smooth path. That
yeah,
surprised me. Now, is it because of the times that we're in? I thought for a while we were moving in a very fast paced way to evolve.
yes,
And then there
yes,
looked like there were a couple of hiccups that occurred. And that was kind of frightening to me because I
mm,
felt almost like we were devolving for a
mm,
time. And it was very frightening to me. But naturally, I'm talking to people that are out there thinking the same things that we're thinking, trying to assist the planet to evolve, trying to have us all live in abundance and not the scarcity mindset, and the fact that, we want to all thrive, and we should all thrive, and we all have a right to thrive, live rich,
yes,
radiant lives. That's really the what we're all here to help each other to do. So sometimes I get a little uh, nervous when I hear that we might slide back a little bit, but it is human nature also.
yes,
To that extent, it's human nature. It those hiccups could be there, and we try to either go around them or go over them. I'm hoping that we're moving in the right direction. That's really why I wanted to have these conversations with people. I think that it's our duty to keep the conversations going, because we certainly know that the conversations of hatred and uh, and prejudice and um, harm, hurt, they're all going on. So
yes,
we need to really have our voices, as you said, we have to open up our voices. We have to have our voices heard. We have to, we
yes,
have to have, we have to understand that we have a right to speak up. We have to
mm,
understand that we all have a right to do that.
yes,
So I think that, it could be my personal opinion that what I hear sometimes scares me. My husband always said, I mean, we've been together for years, and he always said, you lived a very different life than a lot of people. Because sometimes I would say
mm,
to him, why I hear this, I'm shocked sometimes, and I feel hurt, and I feel
mm,
sorrow and sadness. And he said, but remember, you lived a different way. Others have
right,
not. That's, the enlightenment has to come to everyone. So I'm hoping,
yes,
that's why I find what you're doing absolutely fabulous. And those connections that we make with one another that are so important, to keep the conversations going, to open up the spaces to people, to make sure that no one's in fear. No one feels fearful that they don't have a right to speak up.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for
You're
that.
very welcome. Thank you for
I,
asking
I,
me.
Yeah, I love the perspective, and especially where you and I have not traveled a path together, to encounter someone who's been outside of my ordinary reality and have that feedback informs me, gives me
Mm-hmm.
perspective on what's going on. Because as you said, we all live the life that we live, and
Mm-hmm.
what's outside of that appears and feels very different. Just one thing that ran through me as you were speaking about the fear surprising you, especially when it's within these
Mm-hmm.
communities, which is I sense it as you were speaking, as we've done the processing, we've done for many, not for everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
for many who are speaking these things and want to be involved and active in the evolution of the planet. We've walked through the healing and the trauma and what's at the root and how to process it. I feel, number one, we're shifting away from that, especially for those of us who have done the work. It's
Mm-hmm.
no longer about, okay, well, I feel this today. I wonder what that is. I wonder where it is in my
Mm-hmm.
childhood. I wonder how I got here. It has begun to feel like that is just walking the same road over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over again, and nothing new is learned, for me at least, and some of the people I'm encountering. And the second piece is, as we are, I see it as, we're going deeper and deeper and deeper, especially as women, as the feminine, right? We go down, she descends. And as we go deeper, the layer of fear that's here is a very different sensation
Mm-hmm.
than the layer of fear that's down here in the womb, where certainly we may encounter things that were part of our childhood or our lineage. That still may happen.
Mm-hmm.
However, the response to it isn't to process ourselves out of it. The
Mm-hmm.
response to it, I feel now, and this is becoming my practice with myself, is okay, what's the evolution of this? Like, I even want to say revolution, almost
Mm-hmm.
the 180. If I turn the other direction, yes, there's fear. And I think also beginning to engage the fear as, it's because I'm at an edge,
Mm-hmm.
rather than it's because this is not okay to do. And the more that we can step toward our edge and understand the fear is partnering and moving us in that
Mm-hmm.
direction at that deep level, the more we touch that place of power within. And that's my wish for those who are ready for that next level, is that we can step to the edge
Right.
and choose. I remember Carolyn Mace saying, okay, just jump, just
Mm-hmm.
jump. And we've all heard the stories of the wings will sprout, just
Yes.
jump. I think we're living in a time where that's almost required of us. Jump, go. We can't wait anymore. We can't process
Right.
around and spin in it anymore. Go. Tapestry taught me that. There were points of tapestry I was pissed off. I couldn't figure out what to do next. I was frustrated. I cried. I learned how my creative cycle really
Mm-hmm.
works because I had such a clear download. I knew I was passionate about it. I couldn't go back to that seed and go,
Right.
well, maybe not. Maybe
Right.
I didn't really feel it, which I had done with myself previously.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to jump off the edge. I had to take the risk. And I believe Tapestry will continue pushing
Yes.
me to do exactly that again and again and again. And any woman who enters that
Mm-hmm.
space is going to be brought to her edge one way or another. And we want it. Like,
Yes.
ultimately,
Yes.
we want it. And if we could tell that to the fear also, thank you very much. I remember Elizabeth Gilbert saying, fear got in the car with me. I was going wherever she was
Mm-hmm.
going, and fear got in the car with me. And I said, okay, that's fine, but you're going to ride in the back. You're not touching the radio. You can't put the windows down. You don't get to drive.
Yeah.
You can come.
You're not in charge, right?
You have no say
Yeah.
here. Fine. And on she went.
Yes. I guess for me, I wish that everyone would understand how much they matter, and everyone would understand how we all matter, and I wish that we all treated each other that way, and that we wouldn't have to have all this horror that does go on. So sometimes I personally get impatient, especially when I see clients often, and you're hoping that the clients can understand what a special, wonderful, beautiful flower they are, and unique and important to the planet, and you want to just like impart that wisdom on them. And it hurts as a person that when you're working with people, it hurts that they cannot see that in themselves. Yes. And you're hoping that we're all evolving towards that goal. Yes. on the planet, towards for ourselves, for each other. So I guess that's what it is for me. But then I see all these things like Tapestry that I think are wonderful, and I want to make sure that everybody knows about it, because it's there, and you have every right to join it, and every right to exchange ideas with others there. Don't be fearful. It is a private container in some respect.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And if you're fearful, that's okay. You can be fearful and speak. Yes. I did the opening ceremony of Tapestry with my heart beating so fast. And certainly there was fear, but I also understood beyond the fear was the thrill of speaking, of saying the words, even if my knees were shaking and my nervous system had a moment of, really, are we really going to do this? I wanted to. And I also want to say, Marissa, it's beautiful to witness you and to witness your heart and how deeply you care, and the work that you're doing to give people a place for voice and for connection and for choosing something different.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful. It moves me.
Thank you very much. Well, let me ask you, with all that you're doing now, where do you see yourself going? Because you're a very busy person and you give so much to everyone. Where do you see yourself and Tapestry going? Because I know it's a very big part of you. And of course, you still have private clients.
Yes.
So you're busy on that front as well.
Yes. I am beginning to weave tapestry. We weave my wisdom, my presence, my love, and my passion for mysticism and the feminine and this communion and connection. Certainly continuing to pour that into Tapestry and call in the women who both want to collaborate as well as those who want to participate and be present in the space. And that will continue to grow. I am also weaving in my local community to get more involved with the Unity Church and spiritual centers, and even some of the women in Tapestry. I'm going to go to Houston and do some work with one of those women. So I'm also getting my work more in the physical. And then I'll say, all of my work aside, I have 3 children. And the youngest just got married.
Oh, congratulations.
I love our son-in-law. Thank you. I love our son-in-law. And my daughter is almost 28. And for years she said, no babies, no babies. I'm not ready. I don't want anything to do with babies. Maybe when I'm 30. Well, once she became wife, there's now talk of, I would like to get pregnant soon. And so I also know that will become a center point of how my world revolves. I will be near that baby, and that may mean we're moving again, So my world is constantly in evolution. And I love that. I love change. I don't want to do the same thing all the time. So Tapestry will grow out of my growth, out of certainly the growth of every
Mhm.
woman who enters the space, because we're co-creating it together.
Right.
And we will continue having events. We'll have some things monthly that are available. We'll have teachings. We'll have possibilities for more for those who want it. And as I said right at the top of our conversation, Tapestry will show me. She
Yes.
will whisper to me what she wants next and in the future, and I will listen.
Now, with all this going on, are you still taking private clients if someone's looking to work with you, or will it have to be within the tapestry vein, as you said earlier, to work with you through that? Do you still have other space, I should say, for other clients?
I do. I do. And my website for my private work is
Mm-hmm.
theintimatefeminine.com. I am getting ready to go in there and create new offerings for one-on-one and
Mm-hmm.
group sessions. And I've been doing the one-on-one and the group work,
Mm-hmm.
and in the last year or two, that has been more in the background as other
Mm-hmm.
things have been in the forefront. So I'm feeling a fresh energy and
Mm-hmm.
ready to put out some new work and invite in new clients. And I love that, as you said, about wanting to impart to
Mm-hmm.
this woman in front of you how beautiful she is. I see a woman, and I can't not see the gorgeousness
Mm-hmm.
that's coming out of her. And so I want more of that in a more personal,
Mm-hmm.
intimate way.
Well, I will definitely list that in the description box as well, your website. And so
Thank
people
you.
can go to that and see what offerings you're going to be putting out there. But I do want to thank you so much for coming on today and speaking to the audience. It was so wonderful to finally speak. I know we had been in a number of different groups and it's all virtual. So this was wonderful, the one-on-one today.
I love it. I love it. Marissa, thank you. It's an honor, and I've been looking forward to it, and you're a total pleasure. I
Oh, thank
am in
you. Me
full
too. I was
support of what
thrilled.
you're doing.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
And
you.
same here, same here. I was so anxious to speak with you. I think it was wonderful because our paths had crossed, but it was always virtually and not
Yes.
just one-on-one. It was more group
Yes.
related.
I love it. I love it. It's a delight.
Well, again, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. And hopefully we will speak again soon and have a wonderful
Let's
holiday
do.
season, you
Thank
and your
you. Thank
family.
you. Thank you, Marissa. You as well.
Thank you. Bye, Jacqueline.
Much love. Bye-bye.